Welcome to Reservoir Human. I'm Daniel, and I'm going to give you a little overview on what this is in general. We've launched this to essentially create a privatized internal network for information. This is for basically everybody. It's not just businesses, but this is a way for businesses to project themselves inside of a community of like-minded people. And I'm going to use YouTube as a mechanism of it's really advertising. That's all it really is. I hadn't really played around with it at all, and a little bit for my other business, a little bit, but we really didn't use it that much because it was not something that was worth the time. So for something like this, I thought, well, we can use these videos, but I'm aware of the guidelines, the community guidelines. So I thought, well, as long as you stay with their guidelines, they have this really fantastic environment where it's all free. As long as you play by their rules, you can do some really incredible things. So I said, well, why don't we create a private site that has anything that we want to say behind a paywall in an environment that allows you to be open with your thoughts. And I was like, wow, that would be really cool. So we basically have created a kingdom or a gating system so that we're still in the internet, but we're outside of the constraints of that YouTube environment. So there's other platforms like, say, Patreon, for example, that have kind of done the same thing, but yet they still have their own community guidelines as well. And currently, maybe you're doing some things like you're a truther or something like that, or you're talking about things that is secondhand information that you can't prove, or it's material information that they don't really want to get have out there in the public, swimming around. So we're like, all right, well, that's how everything works. You get information from people on a privatized side, and that's actual real actionable data. That's really solid data, not this echo chamber that's been created inside of all the social media platforms. Everybody just reposts everybody else's stuff. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, this you get nothing out of it. And I said, so we're just going to use it for advertising. I was like, that's really what I see as somebody who's been in business for 30 years. I'm like, this is a fantastic tool. I mean, you could project yourself worldwide. This is incredible. And it's free. I'm like, nothing's free. Shh. So behind me is our site. So Reservoir Human it's essentially an archive of my stories, my business stories for 30 years being in business, and from personal, everything basically. As soon as you open your eyes and take your first breath on this planet, you're doing business one way or another. You're going to have to interact. Everything is a transaction. And when you start looking at it that way, every emotion is a transaction. Watching a sporting event is a transaction. Everything there is a push-pull dynamic that's happening. And we decided, like, well, why don't we just put this all together? And if I had some way to index all of it, it'd be interesting. So I don't really see too much of this out there. And I just see constant dumping of these videos. So I thought, all right, well, why don't we go ahead and put something together that's actionable that people can actually use? Because things are changing. And as I've been seeing this over the past, ever since 2020, when we had worldwide event happen, there's been it's been a lot more difficult on the business side. They're having us jump through a lot of hoops, and everybody knows this. From two-party authentications, basically you need a kidney sample to be able to get into your email or whatever. It's getting to be very, very difficult on a daily basis. You spend basically the morning just kind of getting going, just so you can, putting in all your authentications just to kind of get going in the morning. And everybody knows what I'm talking about. Losing passwords, those types of things. And I wanted to know, like, what is this? And I also got into cryptocurrency. So our company was an early investor in crypto, did really well. And to the point where I started paying attention to it really closely, because I thought, how can this move that fast? How can we have made that much money that fast? Like, what is this system? So it made me hyper aware of it. All right. So I started pushing towards that industry and saying, like, okay, This is significant. There's a lot of energy that's going in here. There's a lot of interest. So I wanted to know what it was. And as I started digging through that, and it took me years of talking with people, interviews, being members of private organizations, and so on and so on, trying to find out if anybody really knew anything. Because again, everything that's on the social sites everything that's public just seems to be the same rhetoric over and over again. But there's something that's going on that's happening that is interconnected to this new technology, the cryptographic technology. So as the more I kept pushing into it, I found this is we're in an epoch right now. We're in an epoch in civilization, like worldwide. That is a change from the old way into this new way. And I'm like, oh no, we're in trouble. So it was originally identified to me about 10 years ago from a personal story experience that I had. And I didn't know how it was going to play out. And then crypto came into my world. Okay, the digital world came into my space. So and you'll get these stories in the Reservoir because I do my personal stories in it. And the way that this thing works is really slick. You come in here. So there's a free side. So with the material that we do on free is not on YouTube. Sorry, YouTube, you don't get it. So on the free side, you have to put your information in so that we can gate it so that nobody can just come in here and the bots can't do it. It's a workaround that the bots, the AIs, whatever, can't come in unless I put it out on public. If it's private, even if it's free, you got to put your information in that you're legit. All right. We need people to be compliant and follow the rules. All right. But it's just because we understand the technology and what's happening. All right. So inside the site, it's pretty cool. We've spent a lot of time in just, envisioning how this could all work. So you get our recent videos, and they're going to be videos and audio files that I've done. And you'll get me me speaking in a video format where I do presentations, I do screen shares and explain like, hey, this is what's going on, just like what everybody else is doing. But you can search and find all this stuff. There's keywords it's all been indexed. My counterpart Franklin has put together this. They're holders. This isn't meant for watching it like a TV show. It's you listen to it. They're going to be my daily musings and things of me taking phone calls and just like getting pissed off because stuff just isn't working anymore. Like what is going on? And then I'll make a reference instead of me, complaining about it. I'll make a reference to be like, oh, I see what's going on because this is filling in with this other information that I have because of being in digital. I know what's going on. So you'll get current stuff from me, and then you'll also get supportive information from histories. All right. And as this continues to build, there'll be more and more information on this because it's all making sense. It all has now that the Genius Act came out, and once that came out, I was like, okay, that's a major light bulb moment. I know exactly what's going on. So next would be stories, all kinds of stuff, self-help, relationships, business, but it's behind a paywall. So we have a disclosure, basically like, like it's entertainment and that business for the public, but inside of here, we have our own disclosures so that we have to limit liability. It's like take the good, leave the bad, that type of thing, but we're not liable. But as long as you, dot all your I's, cross all your T's, you'll keep yourself out of a liability risk situation. So at any rate, you'd click on, let's say, human resources, and you get all kinds of stuff. I mean, I talk about esoteric elements. I talk about business elements, personal elements, and how it all comes together. It all starts making sense based on Danny's world. I get it. Mapping. We also have this really cool thing where you map storylines and of experience and things. And as this begins to continue to keep loading, you can just go directly to the video based upon the map. So maybe you like the map view. You're like, whoa, what's going on down here over in Argentina or in Brazil, in South America? Why would I need to know anything of that? What's this? And everything in here is a relevance to what is going on and why all the chaos is happening. Because again, we're not ditching the dollar. We're not getting rid of that. The dollar it's just changing. And I know this because of, on the premium side, people that are serious about this and want to really know and be able to use it for themselves can go into my interview section and they can see interviews from companies that I've had conversations with that are basically structuring the new way business is done. All right. And how it intertwines in with this Genius Act. And I'm like, I'm 100%. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm agnostic when it comes to politics and religion and whatever it is. I'm really open. I'll listen to anybody, and they're all pretty much the same stories, either which way you look at it. So by me staying in that environment of being open, it keeps it so that everyone can have access to it. I don't care, where you come from, what your experience is. This is affecting everyone on the planet. All right. This is going to be everything. All right. And it's all going to be running on this digital system. And it's not the mark of the beast. I don't care what anybody says. You've already been doing this, and it's inside the material that I'm talking about. The premium side is like I said, interviews, private stuff. If you're a business owner and you want to project your business, maybe you have inside information. I'd love to hear it. And if it's pertaining to these changes and things that are happening economically and things that you're having to, step over daily, I want to hear about them. If it's something that's interesting for people that are on the business side, like say you're an accountant, a lawyer, somebody that's a professional, and you're seeing things that are changing based upon your day-to-day business that you're having to do to stay compliant. That's the big factor. It's happening to everyone in different ways, and that's what I'm really interested in. And then once you learn the language of what's going on in here, your mind will open up to being able to receive the information differently. You'll understand what's going on and why you have to do this. All right. And it's not forced, it's required. Okay. There's a difference. Blogs are obviously blogs. Contact us if you want to shoot us an email and you want to have one of these interviews. You come in and you sign up under the free side. We see your email address that you're a real human being, and then you shoot us an email, and I can just showcase your company. Tell me what you do. I don't care if you're a local heating and air conditioning contractor. If you're seeing things, I promise you, I have plenty of people that I've talked to on the private side, small local businesses, and they don't understand what's going on. But if you want to, let's do a video. Let's do a video and do a essentially it's a privatized like business card, and you're going to know something. All right. I promise you're going to know something in your industry that is identifying these digital changes that are subtly happening behind the scenes, and nobody's putting it all together because it's too complicated. It's just been, spread out and compartmentalized, and when that is all by design, 100%. And it is brilliant the way it's happening. And I started picking up on it maybe about 5 years ago. And no, it was probably longer than that. I really started learning about this, about 10 years ago. But as I started learning the intensity, veracity of this, it was around 2020. And then things started becoming evident, like, okay, this is a serious thing. This is marching forward. How do I position myself and my family so that, we get through this? Because it's absolutely going to be like heavy duty. But as somebody who has experience in the building industry as a remodeling contractor, unfortunately, you have to tear some things down in order to be able to get a decent foundation to be able to build on. I need to tear these things apart, and that's where we're at. We're in a reset zone right now. So at any rate, that's how the site works. And if you're interested in expanding and opening up your business, again, it's free. I give you premium access to it, and it's 100% free as long as you keep, if you find something else and you hit me up with an email like, hey, you become a source. And sources are very valuable, and to us they're valuable because I want to know. We basically set off and doing this project private, and somebody said like, hey, this is really great material, you should just put this out. And I was like, oh really? And I was like, I didn't know that there was, I thought everybody knew this. So we're like, all right, well, let's organize. Well, I've got it organized, I've got it all laid out, let's just go ahead and put a website together. And I said, but the private stuff, it's basically to keep the people that don't really belong inside of that space, because you're not going to do anything with it. That's the thing. If somebody's getting something for free, there's a reason why they have private environments. Like, not everybody, if you have a country club experience, and it's not a rich guy thing. I'm like, my background, we were members of a country club because my children wanted to swim, and we didn't have a pool at our subdivision, so I could join a country club that was near me that had a swimming pool. So I'm members of the club. I'm not necessarily rubbing elbows with people, but we end up mixing with other families and meeting other people and so on and so on. But it's private. You couldn't walk in off the street and hop in the pool. They just wouldn't let it happen. And so it's organized and structured. So this is the same way that secret societies work. This is the Masons. This is everybody that you've heard of, all these crazy stories, these fringe stories. And I was like, well, we're just going to create our own organization and get people that are serious about this, that know what's going on, and they want to project themselves and put themselves into a community which will give them a leg up on others, so that you separate yourself from the rest of the clan, because you know something is going on, but you don't necessarily want to go out and tell it in public. Okay. So I can do the videos and we can mask your face. You could be Mr. X, whatever else, inside stuff. But it's being run on business. Everybody has to understand, we're following the money on the front end. Okay. We want to know, like, that's easy to go back and rabbit hole and follow the money. Be like, that's great. But there's a way to do it on the front end, as long as you know the game that they're playing behind the scenes, and that the whole system has been rigged from day one. All right. And they know it. All right. You just have to understand the language. It doesn't mean that you have to go be doing their behavior, but you have to understand, like, how these people tick. Okay. And then the reason why they're doing what they're doing, which goes into esoteric elements and some really, 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 really strange stories. So you get also that, which most people that are doing business storylines it's very bland. So we add in the esoteric element to business, which is absolutely 100% in it. The symbology, from the church to everything that's involved, and how it's all intertwined and woven in. And I don't think you heard it from anywhere else, because my experience again is from a business perspective, but I also had some personal experiences that happened that opened my understanding to how things actually really work on an energetic level, not just a physical material level. And that's what we really get into. So we have a weird section, but we also have an actionable real section, which is, at the end of the day, nuts and bolts is what builds everything. But if you can have a better understanding of how it works on the upper level, I'm talking like divinity level, energetic level, it soothes you. It essentially, you get to a point where your consciousness, and you can relax, because everything is all under control, and everything all is perfectly tuned, even though it doesn't look like it. It looks like a total disaster, but it's not. So anyway, we're moving forward, and there'll be more for me to come, and I guess I have to just start building YouTube and my channel, but yeah, it's going to be exciting. And you'll get audio files. So I've got a mobile setup rig where I'm just going to do audios, and you'll just hear me, with, my daily musings, essentially, just kind of loading the algorithm and doing our thing. But that's what we're doing. That's what our interest is. So welcome to the Reservoir. Cheers.